Anna slouched in the furthest corner of the xenobiology amphitheater, her worn leather jacket creaking against the polymer seat. The massive Kethvar professor dominated the stage below, his forearms gesticulating as he explained the finer points of interspecies biological adaptation. To most of the galaxy, Professor Zekathul was a renowned scholar. To Anna, he was just another predator trying to look civilized. The irony wasn't lost on her. Here she was, a human, the galaxy's newest and supposedly most primitive species, listening to a creature whose ancestors had perfected the art of hunting sentience long before her world had developed writing. The Kethvar had been apex predators on 17 different worlds before they'd evolved beyond such crude necessities. The human specimen demonstrates remarkable adaptability, Zekathul was saying, his mandibles clicking with what passed for academic enthusiasm among his kind. Despite their recent emergence into galactic society, they show surprising resilience in hostile environments. Anna suppressed a snort. Surprising to whom? She'd spent 3 years on this station watching civilized species recoil from her presence, treating her like some sort of exotic pet that might bite. The Velthari counselors insisted it was natural xenophobia. The Arcanian diplomats called it cultural adjustment period. Anna called it what it was: fear. They were afraid because humanity was everything the galaxy had tried to forget about itself. The lecture continued, Zekathul's 4 eyes occasionally scanning the amphitheater. When his gaze passed over Anna, she saw the familiar flicker: recognition, assessment, calculation. Even in his professorial robes, surrounded by the trappings of civilization, the predator in him recognized the predator in her. Human social structures exhibit fascinating contradictions, the professor continued. They maintain complex ethical systems while simultaneously displaying remarkable tactical flexibility in survival situations. Anna almost laughed. Tactical flexibility. That was a polite way of saying humans would do absolutely anything to survive and feel terrible about it afterward. She'd seen it firsthand during the border wars, before the Galactic Council had invited humanity to join their little club. She'd done things that still visited her dreams, things that had kept her species alive when 3 different alien coalitions had decided Earth needed pacification. The other students, a mix of Arcanian scholars, Velthari scientists, and various other enlightened species, hung on every word. They found humans academically fascinating, like studying an extinct predator through fossil records. Except humans weren't extinct, and they weren't fossils. "Professor," called out a young Arcanian from the front row, her crystalline features catching the amphitheater's lights. "Is it true that humans still practice warfare among their own species?" Zekathul's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Indeed, human intraspecies conflict continues despite their integration into galactic society. It's a fascinating remnant of their evolutionary development. Anna felt her jaw clench. Fascinating remnant, as if they were talking about vestigial organs instead of the very trait that had saved humanity when the galaxy had come calling with liberation fleets. However, Zekathul continued, this apparent primitive behavior may actually represent a sophisticated survival mechanism. Humans maintain what we might call controlled aggression, the ability to access their predatory instincts when necessary, while suppressing them during peaceful periods. Now that was closer to the truth. Anna watched the alien students shifting, uncomfortably in their seats. They didn't like being reminded that their own civilized facades were just that, facades. The Kethvar had conquered half a sector before discovering philosophy. The Arcanians had practiced ritual cannibalism until they'd developed faster-than-light travel. Every species in this room had clawed their way up from the same primordial soup, but they'd all agreed to pretend otherwise. Humanity's crime wasn't being primitive. It was being honest about what lay beneath the surface. The most intriguing aspect, Zekathul said, his voice dropping to what Anna recognized as his hunting tone, is their psychological compartmentalization. A human can discuss poetry and philosophy with genuine passion, then transition seamlessly to tactical planning if threatened. This duality appears to be their defining characteristic. Anna's friend Helen, sitting 3 rows ahead, turned slightly to catch her eye. The Velthari's empathic abilities meant she could feel Anna's growing tension like a storm front. Helen's concern rippled back to her in gentle waves, a reminder that not everyone saw humanity as a fascinating specimen. The lecture wound toward its conclusion, Zekthul summarizing humanity's place in the galactic ecosystem with clinical detachment. As the other students began packing their materials, the professor's 4 eyes fixed directly on Anna. "Miss Chen," he said, his voice carrying clearly across the amphitheater, "might I have a word?" Anna slung her pack over her shoulder and made her way down to the stage. The other students gave her a wide berth, as they always did. When she reached the podium, Zekthul had already dismissed the lingering stragglers with a gesture. "An excellent lecture, Professor," Anna said, her tone carefully neutral. Zekthul's mandibles spread in what might have been amusement. "You disagree with my assessment. I disagree with your conclusion that we're somehow unique. Every species here has the same duality. The difference is, we don't pretend otherwise." "Precisely." Zekthul leaned forward, and Anna caught the scent of his pheromones. Interest, not aggression. "Which brings me to why I wanted to speak with you. I have a proposition." Anna waited. "There's a situation developing in the Outer Rim. A colony ship has gone silent near the disputed zone. The Council wants to send a research expedition." His forearms folded in a gesture Anna had learned meant serious business. "They need someone with your particular skill set." "My skill set?" "Someone who can think like both a scholar and a predator. Someone who understands that sometimes survival requires abandoning the comfortable lies we tell ourselves about civilization." Anna studied the massive alien's face, reading the subtle signs of genuine respect. Not the patronizing academic interest she usually encountered, but recognition of an equal. "When do we leave?" she asked. Zekthul's mandibles clicked with what might have been approval. "Tomorrow, Aero 600 station time. And Miss Chen, bring whatever gear you think you might need. Something tells me this expedition will require all of humanity's tactical flexibility." As Anna walked toward the amphitheater exit, she felt the familiar weight of responsibility settling across her shoulders. Another situation where humanity's primitive nature might be the galaxy's salvation. Another chance to prove that sometimes the predator's instincts were exactly what civilization needed to survive. Behind her, Professor Zekthul was already preparing for his next lecture, but Anna knew he understood the truth as well as she did. In a universe full of dangers masquerading as civilized discourse, sometimes the most valuable citizens were those who remembered how to hunt.